Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We're going to ask that everyone please stand for the pledge, but before we do so, we're going to go ahead and have Councilman Dale with a prayer. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. First, I guess we have a workshop presentation by Plummer on the water treatment plants.
If they show up.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we don't have them here at this time, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and move on with the first item. Consider approval of minutes of the December 6, 2022 regular session.
After review of the minutes, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 6th regular session.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. We'll now close item 1. Move on to item 2. Item 2 is to consider approval of pay request from Watson Commercial Construction Ltd. for work on the community center. Good evening, Jordan.
Hello, Council. How are y'all? All right, I have for your approval is pay application number 11 from Watson. It is certified in the amount of $115,770.60. Within this pay app, they are doing a draw on the kitchen equipment allowance. That was for them to place the order for the equipment. Within this, there's also work being done internally, the miscellaneous steel, as well as the doors, the exterior metal panels, which those are the wood grain looking metal panels is what that is for. And then also the storefront, the aluminum doors and frames, as well as the drywall system and fiber reinforced, which is really just the framing of the interior walls. On the last page, you have the toilet partitions being stored, as well as the exterior canopies. Those have started to be installed. And then the plumbing, the HVAC system, a good portion of that has been installed as well.
So at this time, we're about 59%.
I would honestly say we are further along than that.
Do we have a date on when we're going to be getting the windows installed?
The frames are there. The glazing, though, is not. Last I heard, they were hoping that they would get here before the cold front, but I don't think it's been there yet.
Do they appear to be on schedule?
For the beginning of February, they're still on schedule for that right now. I believe that they're still on for I think it's like December 6th or December 8th, somewhere around there, was what they were still anticipating, as long as they could keep moving on the beginning. Yes, sorry. February 6th or 8th, I can't remember which date it was, but I think they were still striving for that goal.
Y'all are satisfied with everything so far?
Very. The contractor's been doing an excellent job keeping all the subs in line.
Did you have something? Okay.
I have actually been out of town the last month a good bit.
haven't been able to go by, and kind of observe anything. I would, if any of y'all have been by, I mean, I'd just like a kind of update. Do y'all think it's looking right, correct, and all that?
I haven't been inside. I've drove by, it's so muddy out there. I think you'd have to have maybe a pair of duck waders to go out there right now, but it's awful muddy, but I go by pretty regularly. I'm sure Councilman Walker does there too, but, it appears, you can see a lot of progress, absolutely. And it's taking shape for sure. And I don't know about the inside that much, but the outside's looking better.
I was surprised at how large it feels when you're inside compared to outside. I thought, boy, that looks like a small little building, but when you get inside, certainly the big room that's got dividers, and then you get two, and then that's big, and then they got a couple of classrooms that look good. The kitchen on the other end, it looks really good. Thing I noticed, and I hadn't caught it till I got inside, I was expecting there to be maybe a foyer, large room where we would put this wall or whatever we're talking about. But it really goes through the wall. You just go into the hall, go straight through from front to back. And along that wall, I guess, is where we're going to put the picture. It's a big, nice wall. And I know that we talked about a case to control. And that case, I don't know if there's a room to put one on the floor, but I think that there is to put it like on a wall. I was going to talk to you about that, Jerry. Maybe build one that goes on the wall across from where the pictures are, that big wall. And like you'd see in a school or something, a big lighted case. But we'll talk about that. But there's lots of room. I think it looks pretty good inside. Yeah, no. Actually, I went out with my good shoes on, and I walked behind the contractor who stepped on he put some dry dirt different places, and we made it through. So I had to clean my shoes when I got home.
Yeah, I did get the opportunity to walk through, it's been about 2 weeks ago, and they seemed like they were progressing pretty well. And I'll say that I was pretty pleased at where we're at right now with it. It looks pretty good inside and out. And just as Ed was saying, the space is much more than what you would assume from the outside. So I think it's going to be a good deal once it's finished. Okay, if we have no further questions on this item, I'll open the floor.
I make a motion to approve pay request for Watson Commercial Construction Ltd. work on the community center.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion made by Councilman Chappelle, second by Councilman Adams. Madam Secretary, go ahead. We go ahead and give it a count.
Aye.
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 I almost forgot about you, Councilman Adams. I just missed you last week. You've been gone on me. I'm like, wow, okay.
Mayor, could I just ask Councilman Dale, you were at that meeting that we went over the water plant. What was it your recollection? We were going to have him be here for a workshop, and then in the first meeting in January, consider approval of the project. Do you remember? Or was it all going to be in January? Maybe it was my mistake. That's what I think. Okay, well, I sent him a text. We'll see.
All right, we have a unanimous vote on that item. We'll go ahead and close that item and move on to item 3. Thank you, Jordan. Okay, item 3 is to consider approval of declaring item surplus and allow for disposal by police department. Chief?
Evening, Mayor, Council, and Mr. Thatcher. What we're looking at, we've been going through some of our old equipment, looking at trying to do some house cleaning. We've recently upgraded to the most recent version of tasers. We have the old tasers we need to get rid of. We've also gone to new body cameras. Ours were out of warranty. Actually, we carried them an extra year beyond warranty, so we need to dispose of those. And as we've gone through old equipment, such as holsters that are no longer applicable to the firearms and the setup we have with our handguns, that's pretty much what we're looking at. We also have I think one old Chevy Tahoe patrol vehicle that the equipment inside like the cage in the back and the lights and the stuff like that. It's no longer in use. It doesn't fit onto the new body style, so that's sitting out at the fleet warehouse. So we're looking at disposing of that as well. So just kind of simple stuff like that that's been laying around that we're no longer in use. So there's various ways to dispose of it. Sometimes the tasers can be purchased by companies who refurbish them and then sell them. Other stuff we'll send out to auction.
All of it is through the auction. That's what my question was through Express. Is that who's gonna do it?
Well, I think the individual companies, if they can give us estimates on and bids on purchasing those tasers, will probably get better return. Occasionally, there's police departments, very small departments that may. I have a request for some of the Tahoe equipment by a local department that has one Tahoe and just doesn't have any funding. So we may see about giving them some of that equipment. And then I had another department ask me for a couple tasers, and they just asked me for what they need to pay for them.
So y'all basically got everything gathered up, ready to act on it here after the first of the year?
Yeah, we have a list of everything by serial number, and the rest, the stuff that doesn't, like the holsters, we have in a particular location that we've already compiled them.
Has it been quite a while since this has been done, I guess?
Yeah, some of these tasers are actually, some of the tasers are 2 generations old. Some of them are the last generation. We hadn't replaced those in over 5 years. So that's why we changed those. The cameras are obviously, they haven't been laying around. They've been in use until recently. But stuff like the holsters and other stuff like that, it's been sitting around for a while. So we're ready to get it out of the closet.
Out of curiosity for the public, where do those funds go when we sell that? Back in general or back in the police?
It goes back to general fund, but then, yes, they need it. I'm interested to know what other departments want your tasers.
I had a request of one department. It's a very small department with very little funding, and they've asked if they could come and get some of the old tasers from us.
Departments, not. Oh, maybe Keith wanted a taser. He can't have one.
It was the water department. I'm just kidding. Now this is a police department asking. So.
Big say just for the record, if somebody's behind on their water bill, you can't tase them.
Well, okay, thanks, Chief. We appreciate it. We'll go ahead and open the floor for a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion we approve the declaring these items from the police department list.
I'll second that.
We have a motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 We have a unanimous vote on that item. We'll go ahead and close that item and move on to item 4. Item 4 is to consider approval to upgrade to Tyler Technologies INC for court, payroll, and financials. Ms. Reeves.
Thank you, Council. When we received the ARPA funds, there was some money allowed for us to make upgrades to our financial system and our payroll and court systems, as they are no longer going to be supported. STW was bought out by OpenGov, and it was decided by OpenGov that they would not support their payroll system moving forward. We have spent quite a bit of time, me, Perla, Candace, Ed Thatcher, and even some of the court people have looked at about 8 to 10 different software packages and payroll systems. First, to make sure that they would work for us, make sure that they would comply with the federal requirements for payroll, do all of the payroll reports and quarterly reports that are required, as well as the W-2s and year-end. We looked at the court system to make sure that it would interface with the police department system and their ticket writers, to make sure that everything worked there as well. So after we looked at everything, and we also looked at whether or not it had an HR package. The city currently does not have an HR package, and we use sort of our payroll system as our HR system, and it really isn't meant for that. And so that's something we really wanted, was a good HR system. And so after meeting with everybody and Perla and getting input from all the different representatives, We feel that Tyler Technologies is the best foot forward for our software. It really will be one software for everything, for payroll, for court. We will no longer have to be doing journal entries between the different softwares. Right now, we have a separate software for court that we have to journalize in between the financials and court. And the same thing with our payroll. We do separate journal entries between the financials and payroll. So this will make everything really streamlined, and it'll just make everything better for us. And so we're asking for approval tonight for this. Again, some of this money will come from ARPA funds. The court technology piece, they have money in their court technology fund. So their court portion of this will come from the court technology fund.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions here for you. How long have we had this existing software package that we have now?
STW was purchased in 2012, and they have steadily kept this up to date till now. We did try to take the financials to the OpenGov financials, their upgraded OpenGov cloud financials, but again, they're not supporting the payroll at all. So we actually have the financial statements, which we were forced to kind of upgrade to because that's the only option we had, but it's not working well.
What was the funds that we have to help with this?
So this was part of our ARPA funds money that we had set aside at the beginning. This is something that ARPA funds can be used for.
How much was the funds that we're going to use for this?
We had set aside $175,000.
And what is the total cost for it?
The total cost of this software package is $154,800.
So we have more than enough to cover this.
Yes, sir.
Does this include their I'm gonna call it a training period that they'll help y'all, and what period is that? What kind of, I'm gonna call it a warranty for lack of a better term right now, but how long can we rely on them for assistance, and then is there a fee, a monthly fee or a yearly fee after 18 months or whatever?
So it'll be a 3-year, this will cover a 3-year, I guess, warranty period, if that's what you want to call it, training period. But we can call them at any time. They'll be available on the phone. There is a monthly reoccurring fee that we would have to pay every year, but currently we are paying that for our existing software, and so it's the same amount. And so it would be, and so they'll have existing trainings. They also have conferences every year that we'd be able to send our people to learn stuff. We could also have people come here and train us if we want to, but all of that is included in the package software. And basically they've said that once we buy this software, we'd never have to pay for an upgrade again after this. All their upgrades after this are free. So with our last software, that was something, if we had wanted upgrades, we had to pay for all the upgrades. So once we purchase this one, then we would never have to purchase another software again.
I know y'all probably have looked, but just for the public, you've researched on other cities that have used this, and I know that they're satisfied with it, and I'm sure this company's been out there for quite some time.
Our city, I used it in Greenville for the 15, 16 years I was there. We used it in Heath, used it in Garland when I was there, so it's well, and Jerry said he's used it.
So,
It's one of those that again, yeah. It's one of those it has all the modules you could ever use, and then of course it interacts with each other, so you don't have to do any hand feeding in or whatever and trying to transcribe it and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think so. And the thing is, it's about 12-month period to install all the modules, and then they stay around and help you get it going. So it'll take a little work, but there's a learning curve. But it's people that are using software to do stuff, they can catch on to it pretty quick.
My last question, I guess, will be, so that extra 20,000 that we've got kind of budgeted over for that, that can be used for something else?
Yes, sir.
We've already got it kind of earmarked and,
I don't have it earmarked. I was just going to leave it there if we started doing the install. We just purchased the packages that we needed. I believe there's also an agenda, piece of it that Candace wanted, that we have included in here. But as we start to go through the install, if there was something else that we came across, that another module or something that we needed, to add that we didn't know we needed at the time, then I was hoping that I could continue to keep that money in like a reserve in case we needed to come back and ask for another module.
lastly, when will you get started with this if this is approved tonight?
We would get Mr. Thatcher to sign the contract. I'll get it sent over to them, and at the 1st of January, then we would get started on getting the works going and they'll get us on their schedule, and then we'll get started with they'll have what they call a meeting and assign us a group to work with, and then we'll start meeting our people that will transition us.
Thank you.
Okay, so, just a couple of questions, Phil. So is Tyler giving us a discount? We're gonna start off with their court, payroll, and financial assistance with this?
They've given us a 20% discount off of the total of their normal pricing.
Another thing, just wanna make sure we're cautious of, because it's happened to us in the private sector. Make sure there's no hidden fees like reoccurring license fees or anything like that, because some of these programs, they hit you up with these reoccurring license fees or right to use fees, and what it does is they're on a timer. And so whatever that date set for day one to the 365 day or 3 year, 5 year, whatever that mark is, if they didn't make you aware of it, one day you come into the office and all of a sudden employees start saying, hey, I can't do this, I can't do that. You call their support and say, oh, hey, your license is expired. And you're like, what license? So I just want to make sure we don't get a gotcha there. And then will this include the ability to have an app for the employees so they can, from their phone, fill out their time?
This actually includes an app not only for the employees, but also for the public. One of the big things that a lot of cities are going to and residents are asking for is an app. And so residents will be able to look at their app. If there's like a complaint they have, like they see dirt at the park, they'll be able to take a picture of it and instantly send it in from their phone. They'll be able to pay their water bills from their phone, and there's just a lot of different options available on the app. As far as how the employees will be using the app, as far as the payroll side of it, they have a lot of different options available for the payroll tracking. There's a way they do geofencing with that as far as clock in and clocking out. There's also a timesheet program. And we haven't actually sat down with the entire payroll team yet and decided exactly how we wanted to address the timesheet issue and the payroll tracking. We felt like that was something that we needed to bring all the department heads in and get their feedback on, because it's their employees and each department is probably going to be something different. Something that works for one department may not necessarily work for another department. And so we didn't want to say, all employees use the app, or all employees have to come in the office or track in, or all employees have to use the timesheet, because there's such a variety of ways of doing it. So we wanted to just get it approved, and then when we start beginning that setup, we will have a meeting and sit down and discuss exactly how we will do the timekeeping portion of that.
But the payroll system will be something that the employee submits. The payroll goes to the queue of his supervisor, that then looks and approves, then it goes to the queue of the director, then comes to the finance and actually me to make sure it's approved. So I don't think it all comes to me, but it goes up to every queue and then goes to the payroll pay.
No, we find it very beneficial. We use not this same company, but we have an app that we use. So we do it for employees to input their time. They also are able to input their time off requests for personal time, vacation, sick time, whatever. They can track and they can log and see how many vacation days they have left. They can see also, it's a tracker, it can see throughout the whole company who's off today or who's off tomorrow, that kind of thing. So you can know who's off, and then like you said, the department supervisors or directors can approve their employees' time or not approve it, whatever the case may be. But it's very beneficial tool.
And that. So is it comprehensive? Is it going to be user friendly? I was a manager for my entire career, so is it user friendly for the supervisors?
It's very user friendly. It's based on like a Google platform, and so just like you would go online and hit Google and sort and search, it's just like that. It has a places where directors can go in. Each one of the directors can customize their dashboards to see only what they want to see. For instance, if for me as a finance director, I may want to see financial statements. I want to see accounts that are over budget. I may want to see fluctuations in different line items. I can customize that for myself, whereas a director might want to see his purchase orders that he needs to approve, or he may want to see his employees' time that he needs to approve, or he may want to see work orders. But he can customize each one of his little boxes on his dashboard to be just what he needs for that day, and those boxes will turn from red to green every day as he completes whatever task he needs.
Several times in my career, I remember getting a call on my way somewhere or whatever, said, could you approve the payroll? It's waiting for your signature. You know, it's not going anywhere till you do it. And I remember when we first started, so frustrated, I had to approve the whole payroll to get it rolling. But once you get on to it works pretty well.
So Ed, real quick, she mentioned work orders, so do y'all do certain things by a specific work order number or name?
Yeah, in fact, what is the one we got out there? Is it OpenGov? OpenGov that we're using now, and yeah, it creates a work order and it goes someplace, and then when they finish, they come back and say it was completed this date, that, and it goes back, and then it goes back to the original person.
So I know one thing in the private sector we're required to do, when we have a work order, we have to track our man hours for each individual work order. So when you go into that app or online to your laptop, whatever, you find that work order, and if you work 4 hours a day on that work order, then that employee puts 4 hours for that specific work order. So it helps accounting too, be able to track all the hours spent on a specific work order.
On their work order system, they have it basically set to where it's paperless. It's where like each person that does work orders will have their own dashboard, and as the work orders are dispatched, it's sent to that laptop. They can just pull it up when they're out in the field. They won't have to come back to the office and get their paper work orders like they're doing now and then drive out. They'll just have it right there. They can go straight from one address to the next address, and it'll even put them in address order for them, so they're not driving all over town. Or, you know, and you can even set it to where the work orders go to specific people at specific addresses if you need to, and it'll categorize it there, and then they can just do their work orders, and it'll track them, and then they can mark them complete and write notes or whatever it is in there. So I was very, very impressed with their work order system. You're
All right,
welcome.
well, we certainly thank you for that. We're gonna go ahead and open the floor for a motion on this item.
I move for the approval of the technological for the court payroll and financial.
I'll second that motion.
A motion made by Councilman Walker, second by Councilman Dale. Madam Secretary, record a vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries a unanimous vote. We'll go ahead and close that item. Our next item on the agenda is consider approval of the investment policy review by Valley View Consulting.
Public Funds Investment Act requires that we review our investment policy every year to make sure that it comes up to standards and everything. Typically, I do that review, but I would like an outside consulting company to do it. Valley View has said they would do it for $500. Valley View would do it for $500. We're getting ready to come to the near of our banking contract, and it'll be time for us to go out for our banking bid again. And having a professional go through it, just make sure that there's nothing that I haven't missed. And this investment policy is one of the things that is required by Public Funds Investing Act to go into that bid packet. And so with that, I would just, for $500, it would be worth it to have a professional set of eyes on it.
All righty, I concur. We'll go ahead and open the floor for a motion if there's no questions.
I'll make a motion that we approve this investment policy to be reviewed by Valley View Consulting LLC as presented by McHale.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 This motion gets a unanimous vote. We'll go ahead and close that item and move on now to our sixth item on the agenda, which is to consider appointment to Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Thatcher.
Yes, as you know, we have an opening on the P and Z, and also the Board of Adjustment. P and Z serves as the Board of Adjustment. And I'll turn this over to Councilmember Dale for his discussion.
I've contacted one individual that we might consider, and he's very receptive to it, and I think would make a good member to serve. Would be Jason Lee. I don't know, probably the majority of the council probably know him, and but he's willing to serve, and we appreciate all the people that serve on our boards and eager to give their time to the community. We appreciate that, and I think he would be a good one for this.
Okay, anyone else from the council? Okay, if it's that recommendation, we'll open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Jason Lee to this Planning and Zoning and the Board of Adjustments.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Adams. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous. We'll now close item 6 on the agenda. Our next item is item 7, discussion and consider approval of request from Primacy Builder LLC for the approval of preliminary plat for Tennyson Crossing Addition, Zone Plan Development, District Number 1, for the development of 45 townhome lots, being attractive land located in the G.W. Graves Survey, abstract number 246, Titus County, Texas, and in the city of Mount Pleasant, and being all of a 3.677 acre tract conveyed to Primacy Builder LLC in a deed known as instrument number 202142223 of the public records of Titus County, Texas. The same being all the remainder of a tract conveyed to Amos Rockwell in a deed found in volume 271, page 157 of the deed records of Titus County, Texas, and all of the remainder of the first tract and all of the remainder of the second tract conveyed to Amos Rockwell in a deed found in volume 172, page 402 of the deed records of Titus County, Texas, and generally located on the north side of Tennyson Road, east of U.S. Highway 271, which is South Jefferson Avenue. David?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and Mr. Thatcher. The subject property that you see here is, it's located, you pushing the wrong button. If you have Walmart that's going to be north here, you got Chili's here, Tractor Supply Company here as well, and Discount Tire. So, and this is Tennyson Road. You've got the apartments located over here, and so you probably may recognize this. This came in earlier this year in January for a Plan Development District, and in that Plan Development District was approved for 45 townhomes, and so part of that process is to come in with a preliminary plat. And in this case, the applicant has submitted their drainage plans, their water plans, their sewer plans, and all those plans necessary for development of the site. And with that, the applicant is providing 2 points of access that you can see here as well along Tennyson Road. and they're providing a 8-inch sanitary sewer line that'll run east towards the apartments over here. There's a manhole here they'll connect to there, and they'll also tie into the existing 10-inch water line as well located there. This did go before Planning and Zoning Commission last week for a PD site plan as part of the PD ordinance. And so part of that was the approval of a PD site plan as a condition of approval for the preliminary plat that you see here this evening. With that, staff is recommending approval of the preliminary plat with the conditions that we have outlined in staff report. And once again, since this went to P&Z last week on December 13th, they are forwarding a recommendation of approval for the preliminary plat. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
David, on this, Primary Builders LLC, are they a local company or where are they out of?
They are out of Parker, Texas, which is in Collin County.
So they're, they do a lot of these apartment complexes and all. Are you familiar with them or done any research with them? Do they own these? Do they build them and then flip them, or are they just a contractor to?
Yeah, I believe they're going to own, well, these are townhomes, and so these would be a simple fee for these, and so these will be sold at some point. Now, whether they're going to buy those and use those as rentals, that I do not know, but these are fee simple.
David, do you know, we talk about water and sewer and electricity. Are these going to be broadband ready? I mean, if I'm moving in, I want to be able to hook up and have internet day one, just like I have water and electricity and sewer. So do you know if the developers already ensure that these are going to be pre-wired to be broadband ready?
Now that I do not know. I know the apartments next door have that ability, so I would imagine that's a general request that most folks would like to have. So I don't know that for a fact, though.
That's what I was going to ask. Other ones in Cypress, they are broadband.
Most of the apartments, you got two choices, Peoples or Suddenly.
But you want to work with those carriers and get it pre-wired, just like you don't want to come in after the fact and drilling new holes in the wall. You want to already have the conduit pre-run, whatever it takes. They need to be working with the carriers ahead of time during the build process to minimize the construction costs.
Is that something we can require here
Why do we treat it any different? We should not treat it any different than water, sewer, and electricity. When you're building a house, the electrician has to come in and pre-wire, the plumber has to pre-plumb with all that stuff. So broadband should be no different. You work with the local carrier to that community and make sure it's because like where I work, when they come in, a developer like this, they get with E-Tex Telephone, they give us their set of plans, and we work with the developer, and we come in and do all the pre-wire before sheetrock goes up. So it's pretty simple. They just need to do their job and reach out to the carrier.
Not knowing anything about it, if this company here, if they build these apartment complexes all around, I mean, don't sound like their first rodeo. I mean, I would, right, I agree, but I don't know that we have any policy in place that they have to have broadband or something. I mean, you would think that they would normally do it because of the great importance of it, but I don't know that if that's customary in the cities to have that. I don't know that we do, but I agree that it's important for us to have it.
The thing is, when you're talking about a new build, like he's talking about doing 45 townhomes all at once, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. One phase.
So if that's the case, then if I move in tomorrow, there's no way I can have internet turned up tomorrow because we'll just say it's Peoples or it's Optima suddenly, they're going to have to put on their schedule time to do construction to a new structure. And with that said, it's going to take days because on their side, they got to get with their engineering department, develop a set of drawings and plans because they're going to have to come out and do a site walk or a site survey to see what it's going to take to access just that one home. Now we're talking 45 homes. That's why it makes perfect sense for the developer to get with the carriers ahead of time, just like he does for electric, water, and sewer, because it saves time. Because me as a customer that comes in to buy that home, now I'm going to have to wait for my internet. But we live in a day and age that we shouldn't have to wait for internet either. We don't wait for the electricity. We don't wait for the water.
One of the things that that we've done, and most of the time, as I look back, most of the developers coming in that want to be competitive, they try to make sure their electricity at the subdivision is underground, because people look for that, and they look for, you know, the best internet, the best TV. Cable TV used to be cable TV. Now it's all about the internet. But and I know that we can require utilities underground, but when we start requiring, we sometimes have to pay for that. If the developer says we're going to do it, the developer pays for it if it costs them money. I want to ask Kerry what his thoughts are. If we can we direct the developer that he's got to put in broadband or fiber?
All of these other things you're talking about, and Henry's talking about, they're on that side of the meter or whatever, you know, the provider, whether it's SWEPCO or what's on this side, it's the gas side, and what's on the other side of that is up to the developer. Now, I'd agree with you 100%, Henry. Competition ought to force them to do it and say, you know, you'd be stupid not to. But I don't know, as far as in the building code or whatever, once it's on that side of the meter, if we say broadband, take it up to Tennyson Road, it's up to the developer to hook on. So that'd be real questionable, whatever. But I can't imagine in this day and time, they just wouldn't be competitive if they didn't. So I think the market takes care of that on it. But I don't know that we could force that. But once we make it available up to that point, then it's up to the developer after that.
I was going to say, if y'all remember when this developer came in, we rezoned this. And matter of fact, we had a couple of rezonings that same night that got pretty interesting. And this isn't their first deal. That I don't know, but this isn't their first deal. Obviously, by looking in the process that they went through, this is nothing new to them, and it took them a year to get to this point. You know, basically, because it'll be a year in January that they came back and asked us for the rezoning to purchase the property, and they'll have that. I'm almost positive.
If we had any say about it, you know, we'd maybe want to direct the developer away from Suddenlink, because we get so many complaints about them. But I'm not sure I can even say that. But I mean,
I will say this: I had the advantage of serving on the jury here the other day with the Suddenlink director in this area, or business, what they call him, Henry, the business development director or whatever. I told him basically the same thing, that we had been encouraging people to come into the residentials as well, and he said that he assured me that was something that suddenly, it's not Suddenlink anymore, it's Optima or whatever, but he assured me that there was interest in their end to get it into the residents, and I informed him that if there was anything that us as a council or as a city could help them to bring fiber and more internet and faster internet to the people of Mount Pleasant and to the businesses of Mount Pleasant, there is nothing that will expand business and jobs and property and housing and everything quicker than bringing in fiber. So hopefully he took me very seriously, and I hope Optima is listening tonight, because I would be 100% in a helpful way to help bring more internet, faster internet, better internet, fiber, whatever. I mean, that's the coax cable was 30 years ago, whatever it is, and today fiber is the standard bearer, and we have to get these people to that point somehow.
I would just be happy if I could keep my Monday night football game on my Suddenlink connection.
Hey, Davey, can you just do me a favor? Can you follow up with these developers, this one and any future, just to ask them if that's in their design plans, to work with the local broadband providers, whomever that may be, and get with them to find out what they require to be pre-done on, like Kerry said, on the other side of the meter?
Right, yes, and that's one thing I wanted to say was, during our pre-development meetings, we can certainly ask at that time to find out exactly what they plan on doing. And so that's something that we can do moving forward. Yes, sir.
We certainly appreciate you, Dave. Thank you. Okay. Well, all right, we're gonna go ahead and, well, open the floor for a motion. We done with our discussion of it.
I move for the approval of the request for Primacy Builders LLC for the approval of the primary plat.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Walker, second by Councilman Adams. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous. We'll now close item 7 and move on now to item 8. Item 8 is a discussion and consider approval of a request from PMCI Properties 2 LP for the approval of preliminary plat for 6 tracts of land, being tract 300 of Walter H. Gilbert Survey, abstract number 232, containing 2.2 acres. Tract 50 of the Walter H. Gilbert Survey, abstract number 232, containing 6.92 acres. Shed Old, property ID 3701. Tract 451 of the Walter H. Gilbert Survey, abstract number 232, containing 52.9 acres. Tract 10 of the John Greenwood Survey, abstract number 231, containing 72.1175 acres. Truck shop, hangars, concrete building, west dock and pack buildings, and railroad crossover building. Tract 20 of the John Greenwood Survey, abstract number 231, containing 65.164 acres. Tract 1600 of the G.W. Graves Survey, abstract number 246, containing 6.46 acres. Roll form building west and totaling 205.58 acres, is generally located on north of FM 4000, south of Patrick Street, east of South Otyson Avenue, and west of South Jefferson Avenue, City of Mount Pleasant, Texas. David.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was great. The location, as you've indicated, and I put a smaller map out here to kind of see how that is, because the CAD map is a little hard to see exactly where this property is. North of 4000, east of South Otyson, you got Patrick Street here as well, and then of course South Jefferson here. And essentially what this is, just an expansion for Prefert Manufacturing. It's going to be on the north end. Obviously they are doing their current construction here, where you've got a 1.1 million square foot building on their south portion. This is all going to contain 6 tracts, a little over 205 acres. And essentially what they really need to do is remove the lot lines so that they can build on the property. And the first phase is going to include 4 buildings. Let me give you an overall. The overall on this, there are approximately 42 building sites that you can see here. There's A, B, and C. And total build out on this is about 1.6 million square feet. So when we take a look at the first phase, though, they are looking at 4 buildings, 162,000 square feet of building here. We took a look at the site plan. Staff did administratively approve the site plan for this based on the plans that you have in the packet as well, with the water, sewer, grading, drainage plans that we have in here as well. Excuse me. And but the site plan, obviously, it is conditioned with the approval of a preliminary plat, as well as they'll need to come back in and final plat this property as well, and that'll come after this has been approved. With that, staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat. Planning and Zoning Commission did meet last week as well, and is forwarding a recommendation of approval for this. With that, I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Hey, Dave, just curious, were these buildings for Preference be used for inventory storage or increase their manufacturing footprint? Do you know exactly what they're for?
Yeah, so this is a storage facility right here, is how they have it labeled, for their tube. This is the, tube mill here, and then their slitter, and of course, they've got a rail spur that's coming in here as well to, help facilitate some of the operations.
All right, do we have any more questions? Okay, we can go ahead and pass the discussion phase, and we'll consider a motion at this time.
I'll just say we appreciate Preferred and their investment in our community and what they do, each year and have for years. They're a good corporate citizen for us. And with that, let me, say that I'll make a motion that we, approve this preliminary, plat for the 6 tracts of land, being the tract of 300, from PMCI Properties, 2, that's been presented tonight.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carried unanimous. We'll go ahead and close that item on the agenda and now move on to item 9, which is our public comments. At this time, do we have anyone in the public that would like to address the council? All righty. Council, do we have anything tonight? All right, great. We'll go ahead and, did you?
I'll just say we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy, prosperous, and a healthy New Year coming up. Everyone stay safe and warm.
All right, well, I think we all second that. We'll go ahead and close item 9 on the agenda and move on now to item 10, which is our city manager's report.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we this is our last meeting for the year, and I wanted to wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And also let you know we're expecting weather to be 8 degrees by the end of this week, and through the weekend cold. And so just want you to know that we're gearing up. I know our public works are gearing up for any problems, and public utilities, Anthony was in today, and his guys, they got them probably working through Christmas, and so just making sure we taking care of the water system. There'll be a lot of frozen lines and stuff in houses and stuff, so we'll be extra crews on that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll be closed Friday, which is, we're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so Friday we'll be closed, and then Monday we'll be closed. And then on New Year's, it'll be Monday. We've asked you every year to give us New Year's Eve, so if you'd like to do that, we'll be closed Friday too. Oh, I do want to say thank you. You know, I think Galen was gone for a few weeks, and I forgot to remind him, but everybody else came to the party, and it was a nice Christmas party, and I just want to tell you thank you, and really thank you from the employees. You know, a lot of them are thanking us for what you all did for them this last couple of years. It's really been the last couple of years you guys have done, and they're very grateful, and I am too. So anyway, Merry Christmas to y'all. And we'll be gone this Friday and Monday, and then back, and then the next Monday after that.
I did miss the Christmas party, the fire department's Christmas party, and then the city Christmas party by itself. But that doesn't. I was out of town, and that, I just want to make sure that doesn't reflect. I want to make sure all the employees understand that I'm very grateful for what you do. Y'all have all done a tremendous job since I've been on the council for the last 3.5 years, and I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate you making this job a little easier. And Merry Christmas to all of you. And I thank you for what you do.
I
I will say that we went ahead and ate your portion on both of those. The food was great, and we did miss you, but we did eat your food.
I told Larry I missed I don't know what y'all had at the city party because I didn't ask, but I missed the fire department party, and I'm gonna tell you, I truly, the last time I went, I was in a sugar coma for about a week, and I did miss being there, but I was on a trip to Palm Springs and enjoyed that as well, and I've been very fortunate in my life, but I've been very fortunate in friendships, and I appreciate everybody at the city that's not only my friend, but I feel like we're a part of the family. Thank you.
I have a question, Larry. I forgot, and someone asked me. I just can remember something. How long have you worked for the city now? Question was asked the other day because they could remember back in the 70s when we were kids when Smokey the Bear, and I said I can't remember. I said I'll ask him when we get there.
And I'll just echo everything that everyone else has said, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Okay, I'm gonna extend it and say, I appreciate the city and the staff, all the council here. I just wanna say Merry Christmas to Mount Pleasant, and thank you all for your service. We'll go ahead and now close, city manager's report, and at this time, the council will be going into executive session. Pursuant to Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, the city council will recess into executive session to discuss the following. Consult with outside legal counsel retained by the city regarding pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer and/or matters in which the duty of an attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code related to water purchase contracts, real property, to discuss purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. At this time, the council will be in executive session. Time is now 9:03. Council has reconvened into regular session. No action being taken in executive session. This time, I'll open floor for a motion to be dismissed.
Second.
So moved. We are now adjourned.